Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It appears the previous speaker is unaware of the old political adage that explaining is losing. But, Mr. Speaker, on to...
Order. I'd just like to ask the two relatively senior members of the House to let Mr. Smith speak. If people want to seek leave to table something, they can, and now would be the appropriate time to do it. But I don't think we should have the back and forth about whether it should be or not. Stuart Smith, starting again.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think I made my point before. But on to our economy, Mr. Speaker. At 3.6% of GDP, we are the third highest in the OECD. And there's been some talk about this being led by immigration, and I think that what is in fact behind this is people are voting with their feet. Yep. They're not leaving and they're coming home. And coupling with the 3.6% GDP, we have the second highest employment rate in the world. That is fantastic, Mr. Speaker. So it's not a migration-driven thing. If it was, we wouldn't have that high employment rate. It was also talk about dairy and how it was causing all of our fantastic growth we've had over the last 8 years under the National Government. But, Mr. Speaker, dairy has gone through a very rough patch lately. Unfortunately, it's improved, but the economy has sailed on nonetheless and doing extremely well. And I'm very pleased, like my colleague who mentioned just before, that the GDT was up again last night, $2,780 for that critical whole milk powder price. We need it to get up to $3,000 a tonne, but we're over $5 a kilogram, which is what farmers need to really make money. 50 cents up is the projection, up to $5.25 now by Fonterra. And when you take the share dividend into account as well, $5.75 to $5.85 return to the farmers. That's fantastic. Horticulture exports doing fantastically well, led by kiwi fruit, up 41% to $1.7 billion, Mr. Speaker. That's fantastic performance. When you couple that with the wine industry that had only $18 million of exports back in 1990, $1.6 billion today. That's fantastic performance from the wine industry. But I want to take back local to my electorate, Mr. Speaker, which is the home of 3/4 of New Zealand's wine production. But we also have many other industries and legs to or strings to our bow. Airbus, one of the two largest aircraft manufacturers in the world, has only ever bought 3 other companies in their entire history. And one of those is Safe Air, based in Blenheim at Woodburn Air Base. Safe Air has a fantastic prop shop where propellers are refurbished in Marlborough. It also has a wonderful electroplating bay. Those are very difficult to build now, so all of the electroplating in New Zealand is really done in Woodburn, and even foreign air forces use the prop shop to get their propellers refurbished. But aquaculture is also going extremely well. And we had Dr. Jason Clay speak here in Parliament in Minister Smith's office for a cross-party lunch the other day, and he was pointing out that how we're going to go on and face the growing population and deal with the global paradox of 1 billion people not having enough to eat and 1 billion people being obese, in part will be through aquaculture. In Marlborough and in New Zealand, 1 hectare of salmon farm produces 22 jobs and $13 million of revenue. That is $590,000 per job. High-end manufacturing is one of the few industries that will get into 6 figures. $590,000 per job is a phenomenal amount of money. And I think, as Dr. Clay pointed out, that we have to start looking at these other industries to feed the world. Farmed fish exceeded beef in production a couple of years ago. So we are looking at the world in a completely different lens now. Looking back in Marlborough as well, we have great tourism growth as well. We're having 3 significant openings next month. The Aviation Heritage Museum is opening its World War II display, a new hangar, which is in part supported by Peter Jackson and some of his aircraft. It's a phenomenal facility. That's going to be opened. The ASB Theatre in Marlborough 700-seat theatre or 740-seat theatre, which Dame Kiri Takanoa spoke in earlier in the year and proclaimed it the best acoustics in the country. And in addition to that, a local five-star hotel has almost increased its capacity by 50%, and they're opening that wing in next month as well. The wine industry, of course, is going phenomenally well and will be increasing by 2,000 jobs in the next 4 years, which is 10% of the working population in the Marlborough region. So phenomenal success to go along with the success of other regions in New Zealand and our economy, in part due to good government. Thank you.
The time for this debate has expired. I call on